I'm Laura from dipsyaura.com, and this is
Michelle, or Miss Shakespeare, as I'm known on the Dipsy Aura website.
Okay, and together we have decided to form Shakespeares Aura. And we're just going to be talking about issues that are affecting black women, the black society in general today. Okay, so sit back and listen, and we will appreciate any comments that you care to leave at the bottom. Okay, so today we decided that we were going to talk about families, didn't we?
Yep.
And the black community specifically. Yeah, because even though we're both born and raised in London, our experiences have been vastly different, haven't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so family is an interesting one. I've just recently come into contact with my family, and it's really interesting. So have you got anything sort of off the bat that you can think of?
Well, I think interesting is a good word, because it's like interesting good or interesting bad, or just complicated and complex and nice to sometimes discover family, because I'm the same as in for a long time I was kind of estranged from my paternal side.
Right.
My dad's family, and I've recently, well, in the last 4 years, I'd say, come back into contact with his family, and it was glorious to begin with, because everything's new, and everyone's new.
Yeah.
And you don't really know each other, and everyone's on their best behaviour, exactly. And then you know, once you get to know each other, it becomes like family, normal family, which has its complexities, doesn't it? And you know, and you realise that you're not so in love with everyone like you were necessarily from the get-go, and you have to re-establish your relationship and kind of, I suppose, look at it as a family relationship is going to take hard work.
Yes, it does, doesn't it?
Yes, it really does.
Yeah. For me, I grew up not knowing either of my family on both sides, right? However, my mum and dad were married, and we all sort of lived together in a house. So, but neither of us, I didn't know my aunts and uncles on both sides. Fair enough. When my dad died, I realised that a lot of the people that I'm related to would still see me as a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old, and I noticed as well that they hadn't been there when I had been growing up. So when they did turn up for the whole funeral and all that kind of stuff, it was a bit hard to adjust to their existence, and I suppose also the fact that I'd lost my dad was just a big shock. So basically on night, I ended up telling my aunt exactly what I thought of her in front of everybody. And then for the next decade, 9 years, there was absolutely nothing. I was not inclined to speak to anybody. As far as I was concerned, I had been wronged. Where were they and all this kind of stuff. But, I got taught a real lesson in forgiveness last year when I decided I followed my heart, or whatever that little voice up there. Yeah. I went looking for them, and they welcomed me with open arms,
So were they no longer in that place where you had to go at one of the aunts, basically? Did you go over that?
No.
Or did you just let it lie?
Yeah. We've sort of briefly discussed it. We're hoping to get a chance, an opportunity to really go deep, I imagine. However, at the moment, because of different things that have happened in the family, now's not really the time. Yeah. But, we will do. We're all open to it. And I think now they probably realise I'm a woman, an adult. So, it's nice. I'm at that nice point on my dad's side of the family, but on my mum's side of the family, I'm realising that actually, whereas I thought before it was very boring and dry, it's actually turned very complex. All of a sudden, you realise this one's not your dad, that one's not you, And I remember speaking to a guy, Jason, once, and he was like, I've just found out that my sister's my mum, and stuff like that, which happens a lot in black families.
Still waters run very deep.
Yeah.
Basically, isn't it? Yeah. And I think that's what I discovered with black families, is there's a lot of secrets and a lot of lies, basically, as well. And the way I was brought up was that that kind of, within the community, that kind of thing happens in white families.
Right.
We're fine and everything is dandy. We don't have any of those kind of issues really.
Yeah.
And then you realise that no, those things just maybe aren't spoken about.
That's it. Yeah.
As much, especially in some type of families, it's not spoken about, but it's all there.
Yeah.
And it's all there, and possibly because it's not spoken about, it becomes even more. It festers.
Yes.
And for certain generations, like with my mum's family, my generation, there's no talk about it at all from like my grandparents. But something's there. There's an atmosphere. Something's wrong.
Yeah.
And that can be very negative, and it can bring with it a lot of negative energy when things aren't spoken about, but it's nevertheless there.
Right, yeah. And then as a result of that, people have different perceptions, and then that is fed through to the next generation and the next generation.
Exactly.
And you it's a bit off, but you think it's the norm.
Yeah. Well, I think with my mum's family, I came to the realisation that her family wasn't normal in the sense that it's like her mum was very much the matriarch of the household. There was my granddad there also, but she was the boss.
Right.
But her way was divide and conquer. So it was about all the kids being pitched against each other and not being united as siblings, so that she was a dominant force and they all looked